Hello everyone. Today we are going to talk about online multi-hand tracking via discrimination and memory cache. Hands are becoming a focus in computer vision to understand how humans interact with objects. But hands on a single frame do not tell too much information. We need sequences of multiple hands to understand interactions. There are many applications to hand tracking, such as VR, AR, robotics, and imitation learning. As for prior work, to our best knowledge, there are no really major hand trackers. Most of the people focus on hand detection on single frame instead. Also, there is research on key point detection, which includes hand key points by open pose. And finally, for tracking, human tracking is more common, but we didn't find any hand tracking research. We came up with several different ideas to solve this problem. First, we try to create a baseline by using Hungarian algorithm and common filter. Hungarian algorithm can associate bounding boxes from one frame to another based on a score. We use center distance as our score. So in other words, if the center distance between two bounding boxes from two frames is smaller than a threshold, then we consider them as the same object, otherwise not. And a common filter is for smoothing the trackers. The performance is fair, but there are issues of ID mismatching and ID increases when hand move out and back into the frame. I'll demonstrate the result here. So we can see here the hand 0 becomes hand 1 after an occlusion. In the simple baseline, we find it is hard to track hand when it moves widely. But human body is more stable. Inspired by this, we propose our second method. Hand tracking uses body clue as auxiliary information. There are two types of dataset, egocentric dataset and a third-person dataset. Our second method is applicable only to the third-person dataset, as OpenPose struggles to localize key points in the egocentric dataset. For the egocentric dataset, as it only involves one person and two hands, we can simply identify which hand is left and which hand is right frame by frame. For the third-person dataset, we first use OpenPose to detect key points and then generate 1-to-2 mapping between person and hands and get body bounding boxes and hand bounding boxes. Finally, we use FairMOT, which is a multiple hand tracking network to track human. Notice here, we reason about human rather than hands as it is more stable. Finally, we track hands according to the correspondence between human and hands. In the first video, we can see an obvious improvement as in segment 5. The ID does not increase when there is an overlapping. In the right video, we can see the method struggled when the scene is transformed upside down in about 45 seconds. Here we can see the person 0 is originally the boy, but after the transformation, the person 0 becomes the girl. So to solve this, we proposed our third method. In order to improve the ID assignment accuracy, with limited ground truth in short sequence. We think train a discriminator would be easier than classifier, which is used in fair MOT. One related work is Siamese net, which are used for signature verification and one-shot image recognition. Meanwhile, since there could be multiple hands in one frame, so we adapt the idea of ROI pooling from faster SCNN and run the feature extraction only once to save the computation. So this is the overview of our final approach. We use a memory pool to save the human feature with ID in the past few frames. Then for each human detected in the new frame, we do a pairwise compression with our memory, then assign an existing or a new ID accordingly. We decided to assign an existing ID or a new ID based on the similarity score. We have a threshold on the similarity score. If the maximum similarity score is above the threshold, we assign an existing ID. Otherwise, we assign a new ID and add the human patch to the memory. For future direction, firstly, we plan to expand our dataset by crowdsourcing more hand annotations. Secondly, it is also worth trying to use the hand feature from the task of 3D hand reconstruction with textures because it contains more hand appearance feature. Finally, assembling an end-to-end model could optimize the whole system better. So in summary, we developed 3 evolving approaches that solve the hand tracking problem without existing dataset. During the process, we identified the issues of ID assignments in off-the-shelf methods and proposed novel approaches to overcome them. Thank you.